The reason why we're in the position we're in today due to immigration is, again, because I already stated, the civil rights leaders wanted equality. We did not deal with the situation that was going on in our communities. The poor, the middle class, and the upper classes of our people, as we call that strata, we were all living together. We were forced to be together. So therefore, the doctors and professionals were not allowed to move to certain areas to facilitate their business. We had to be together. During the time of segregation, as I told before a lot of people, I said, we've had more during the time of segregation than we did coming with integration. I give you an example of one of the, how integration destroyed one man's business. It was called Peg-Legged Bass. And I talked about him on PBS, where he had a resort that black people went to. And what happened was, with the integration, with the civil rights movement, blacks no longer would support his business, and he had to go bankrupt. But yet, the Jewish organization, the Jewish people also had a resort that they went to, and it's still open, where their entertainers and so forth went to, and they never abandoned their own people. And that's what happened with us in the civil rights. We have abandoned our communities. The middle class left, and they left only the poor. And when you have that, only just one group, guess what? Deterioration sets in. And that's what has happened. Now, how do we get out of this? And basically what I want to talk about is, when we talk about how do we correct our problem, we have to have several things going for us. One, you got to have people with a vision, and that's called group vision, as Dr. Anderson talked about. And that's to provide a clear collective destination and a sense of how it should be achieved. We should concentrate on wealth, inequality, and inappropriate behavior patterns. That, in other words, we need to start thinking about, as I always say, Garvey said Africa for Africans, I say blacks for blacks. No other ethnic group ever include us into their mix. Black for black, that's what I'm saying. And we have to eliminate that behavior pattern. What we have to do is also have a power-economic vision, as he said. Solutions to our racial predicament, economic power, lower priority to things that do not hold us, or take away from our focus. And here's what we're doing. We're arguing about religion and politics. We're arguing about things that are not progressing us. We focus on developing an empowerment culture. We must have a model that guides us to see things and behave as a group based upon our self-interest. These two models are, as he called, ethno aggregation and vertical integration. They will shore up in the intergroup deficiencies and counter what he called insidious aspects of structural racism and inappropriate behavior. I'm not going to go into that at this point right now into great detail, but matter of fact, I think it will explain what he's talking about. He said ethno-aggregation is a voluntary concentration of individuals and their resources around their ethnic or language communities for the purpose of improving economic and political competitiveness. And he says here the Cubans and the Arabs are one example. In one of his notes, he stated that an Iranian businessman wanted to set up business in what they call Little Cuba. He wasn't allowed to do so. So what they did was to protect their territory. We have not done that. As you can see in any black community, we are not protecting our community because we do not control, again, the buildings. We've lost control of that. We have a criminal element in our communities, but I still used to ask this question. Even though with the criminal behavior that we have, these Arabs and Koreans and everybody else still set up a business in our community, and we won't do it ourselves because we are dysfunctional. We have to also include our family because also with this dysfunctional behavior, our families if our families can't come together, then how are we as other groups going to come together? And us as a group going to come together? We have a lot of dysfunctional behavior in our communities. We talked about a thing called vertical integration. He said it's a direct model that comes into play after blacks as a group have ethno aggregation around their most common and prominent characteristics. He said here, when ethnic groups are wedged in hierarchies of wealth, power, and privilege, competitive conflicts are inevitable. And he said vertical integration empowers blacks to be territorial and vertically mobile. It places black self-interest first and propels blacks in an upward economic direction, because that is where this nation's wealth and power are localized. We also have forgot how to compete. America is based on competition, people. Competition. And therefore, we have to learn how to compete for resources. Again, by collectively pulling our resources together and dropping the egos. And by doing so, and putting a trust within each other, we can succeed. Nothing is going to be done by having no trust. And that's what we've been trained not to do. We've been trained not to trust each other. We've been trained to look out for the welfare of other people. And that's what has been a major problem for us. We sacrifice ourselves for other ethnic groups. We have also become complacent to the point of we don't leave us, as I would say, we don't leave a legacy for our children. So therefore, this is why our children inherit these abandoned buildings. That's why our children always inherit this debt, as I call it. This is why our children don't want to succeed in school, because there's nothing for them to see in the future. Because again, we want to take care of everybody else. We spend our money with everybody else. That money does not circulate in the community. So therefore, if we can set up all kind of markets up on the street, but if blacks have an attitude, we can put boutiques here, we can put furniture stores here, we can put grocery stores here, they will still drive out the way, thinking they're getting a better deal, but they're not. Because the money that you spend in your community, we pay taxes on, we overpay taxes, you're going to get a refund back. You're going to get that money back from the government. But you spending your money out in Cleveland Heights or Gates Mills or those certain areas that you can go to, that money is going to enrich their pocket. They're going to get their goods and services. You don't. And this is how we are cheating ourselves. These foreigners who come here, they're not obligated to do anything for you. They may hire you pay you under the table, but they're creating jobs for their families. They're sending their kids to the better schools. They're sending their kids to be educated. You're giving them a better house. You're buying them new houses. But instead, you have not prepared for yourself. So therefore, we cannot go on, keep doing these things.